Surrey, a county in the southeast of England, lying on the southwest outskirts of London. Beautiful countryside, historic towns, open spaces. From 1,000 feet up, it certainly looks a green and pleasant county with trees and fields, peace and quiet. But there is more to Surrey than this. In Surrey, the major cause of air pollution is traffic, and there is so much of it. The number of vehicles on the roads is increasing year after year. Traffic is monitored here at Surrey's Police Motorway Control Centre at Godstone, and forecasts allow the police to aid situations of congestion that could be hazardous.
The traffic volumes on this stretch of motorway, which is considered the busiest in Europe, on a normal day we're looking at 140 to 150,000 vehicles. On a busy day it's 180,000 to 200,000, and it has peaked at over 200,000 on an exceptionally busy day.
All estimates suggest that traffic levels are going to increase. Morning and evening conditions of slow-moving queues and traffic jams will continue to spread throughout the day. Exhaust emissions and fumes are the cause of many health problems. In particular, the amount of asthma sufferers has increased in numbers over recent years. It does not paint a pretty picture to consider what it will be like in the future, with a further increase in traffic on our roads. The number of people with lung problems and children needing inhalers points an accusing finger at the car. Young people who walk or cycle for an activity are doing the right thing. But we need to reduce air pollution so that the air that they breathe is healthy too. But it is not just people who suffer the effects of air pollution. Habitats, wildlife, buildings, and the environmental systems suffer as well. Carbon dioxide adds to the greenhouse effect, increasing global warming. Particles blacken buildings. Pollutants poison wildlife. Yet, most of these pollutants are invisible. Can you imagine what life would be like in the future if air pollution levels were to get worse? Air would be a dangerous commodity in our lives, which we may even have to end up paying for. Air quality is studied and air pollution levels are measured throughout the county of Surrey by environmental health officers. They use a number of techniques, including the diffusion tube. Measuring air quality requires the use of good scientific practice. This means employing a proper procedure stating an hypothesis, method, and results. This allows for comparison between data for different years and allows effective conclusions to be drawn. The EHO collects a diffusion tube from one of about 80 sites around the county. It is then sent to the laboratory for analysis. The scientist strips off the TEA in a special instrument, and a sample of the gas is passed through a gas analyzer, a process known as atomic absorption. The laboratory can then tell the EHO what the concentration of nitrogen dioxide has been at that site for the preceding month.
Surrey generally has good air quality, but we do see quite high results in the town centres and close to major roads. Levels of nitrogen dioxide can be quite high on occasions, particularly when the weather's cold and still. Different levels occur at different sites. Generally, the further you are from a main road, the lower the concentration. The lowest result in Guildford is in the Chantry Woods, which is only 1 kilometre away from the highest concentration found in the town centre. This is because the gas is dispersed by the wind. But we do get additional background pollution from other places, such as Greater London, when the wind is in that direction.
So is the weather an important factor in air quality?
Yes, cold windless days concentrate the pollutants, whereas windy days like today allow the gases to be spread out. Landscape features also influence pollution on a local scale. A good example of this is in the town and city centres, where the canyon effect is recognised, where pollution, walled in at street level by high continuous buildings, cannot escape. The air quality results on CFAX for central London often show signs of this phenomenon.
Are there many air pollutants that cause concern?
Yes, quite a few. A particularly grave concern is the concentration of benzene in the air. This comes from fuels and other sources. It is potentially cancer-forming, so it must be controlled.
This is actually quite worrying. Is there any good news?
Well, better use could be made of trains and buses. New vehicles could use less fuel. Some could even use new fuels, such as natural gas or electricity. What is certain is that cars will be the main mode of transport in the foreseeable future, and this means our air quality will suffer.
Why do people use cars?
Well, I guess it's convenience. It is a cheaper and safer option.
Why don't they use the bus?
Well,
So, is the car a luxury our lungs cannot afford? What can we do to make the other forms of travel more attractive? Some schemes you may have already seen in action. For example, park and ride schemes that allow you to park easily on the outskirts of a busy town and catch a bus or train into the centre. Walking is a mode of transport that is available to an awful lot of people. So don't let someone drive down to the corner shop. Walk. It's good for them, and it is these short journeys that by car cause the most exhaust emissions. Cycle. This is a great way of having independence, and except for the cost of the bike, it's free. One unusual scheme helps to make buses more efficient by stopping unauthorized people from using the bus lanes. In Woking, this bollard disappears into the ground when a bus approaches, due to a special device in the bus driver's cab. This allows the bus to pass through areas which are normally snarled with traffic. If the buses can run more efficiently, perhaps more people will use them. Of course, there are schemes in other countries that take a completely different approach to finding solutions. In the city of Athens in Greece, where air pollution levels are detected as being too high, the city centre is shut off to private traffic. When levels start to fall, only certain cars are let in. For example, only those with registration plates starting with an even number. In parts of America, there are enforced car sharing lanes. Here, only those cars which carry several people can pass. This is a more radical way of trying to reduce car numbers. Air quality is not a new issue by far. In the past, we have dealt with very bad air pollution in this country, caused from heavy industry, through the implementation of the 1956 Clean Air Act. Now, the problem of transport pollution to the air needs dealing with. We are trying to change this, but we need your help. Somehow, we need to reduce the use of the car, but there are no simple solutions. Don't leave the problem to the so-called experts. Get involved locally and make your voice heard. It is your future. Shape it to be one where everyone can breathe fresh air.